is gone.
Hello, I wanted to give a quick overview about my Volcanic Fissure Jugg. This build is a crit variant of the Volcanic Fissure and I'm playing him as a Juggernaut. The build works is just like a slammer with the usual Warcry stuff. I got 3 Warcries on Auto Exert, which is Infernal Cry, Intimidating and Railing, and I'm pressing 2 Warcries myself, so Seismic and Battle Mage. And the build is pretty good, so I wanted to give a quick showcase about the build and what it does. It's pretty tanky. I got like 11 endurance charges, as you can see on the map, and if you like hop around with some exerts, I can trigger the endurance charges to get full. And it does like pretty absurd amount of damage, especially with the new Mace enchant you can get in the Settlers League. And it allows us also to get like any easy source of Trinity. So how does the build exactly work? The main skill is Volcanic Fissure, which, as you can see, also you can see in the map showcase, it's like pretty much plays like some heat-seeking missiles, and it can hit like pretty much always 3 times on single target, as I recognized on various bosses, which I also recorded. So how does the build work in general? It's like we are playing the crit variant, so we're using Secret of Suffering with Interrogation. So we're applying a pretty high brittle, pretty much max brittle on all the Uber bosses, and even with pretty tanky T70 mods, we have like sufficient pretty to be crit capped. We having Trinity, we are like fully converting Volcanic Fissure, we're using the 60 fire and the rest from our gloves is gold. And the other things that work exceptionally well in the build is Echoes, with like the Uber Shaper unique. As you can see, we're getting like 75 more damage, 15 per Warcry, and we're hitting ourselves pretty hard. I wanted to have like a 20% self damage roll on this, just to so I can hit pretty hard, and I'm using the Divine Shield and Entiring Node from Jugg, which is a pretty huge point why we are Jugg, to mitigate this damage and get like very large amount of regions. As you can see, we have like 1.5% mitigated from here and 3% mitigated from here as energy shield, which gives us really high amount of regions. You can't see it in the hideout because the auto exerts is deactivated, but if I go to like Act 9, for example, you can see that without like hitting like anything, basically we just can't stand around and hit, and it like takes a bit to build up, because like over 10 seconds we got like pretty high amount of regen, life, and the energy shield, which is really well. It's like we don't even. It's not. This without any leech. We have this amount of regen, so it plays like really nicely. You basically have like really high sustain without needing to hit anything, which is a pretty huge point for Jugg. The other things on the tree is just like we're getting like 90 max res, basically with some jewels, the max res nodes, and like 1 ruby flask. And now I go about a bit the rare items. It's like a crit mace. I should use the highest base basically, so I don't need the forbidden jewels, but I crafted this. I crafted this basically pretty early on without thinking much about it, and I'm just using it and using the forbidden jewels for Warbringer, which are like 1 divine each, so they're pretty cheap. The other items, as I said, is echoes. I have like a pretty expansive corruption, I think. I bought this pretty cheap, but they are like show up very rarely, but you don't need it at all. You can just fix the reservation others, like change the annoying, for example. Rare ring is just for max endurance charge, because we're Juggernaut. We heavily we get like pretty huge amount of defense from endurance charge. Especially all our defense is from endurance charges with armor. So I have this on. You don't need this. It's just very nice, but if you can afford it, you don't need to. Utmost just to cap the max stress out. This is really not that expensive because you don't care about attack speed or suppression. You only want like a max stress roll and a pen roll, which is like, if you check it like right now, I like 15 divine, for example. The boots are just an elation approach. You can use them if you have a mage blood. If you don't have a mage blood, you can still play this build pretty comfortably. You just don't use the annihilation approach. And gloves are just rare gloves. We need some int, we need some accuracy, because we're crits, we need to be hit capped. Chest. It's a pretty well rolled chest, but you can use basically any rare chest, which worse rolls. And that's basically the gear. Mage blood is not needed, you can totally play this without. Main reason also because I wanted to play Volcanic Fissure. I league started as Earth Shatter, but I swapped to Volcanic Fissure pretty early on. It's like, because there are no tinctures for fist slams, but these tinctures are like insane for elemental slams. So I really wanted to use this. The timeless jewel I use is just Corrupt Soul, so we get energy shield to benefit of divine shield, because we need energy shield to actually reach energy shield. And the rest is, in my opinion, pretty self-explanatory. Just like you get like some crit nodes here and there, basically some Warcry nodes, all the life nodes they are near. I just grab them all to have like a good life pool, and one large cluster mainly for Overlord and Fuel the Fight. Fuel the Fight gives us mana leech, and Overlord is perma fortify. Other cluster is Warning Call and Mob Mentality. Mob Mentality basically allows us to have, like, as you can see, I'm just standing here, not even attacking anything. I have like basically perma charges. They sometimes fall off, but not that often, so you can basically say you have perma charges. I'm also using a Sublime Vision for determination. I just like wanted to be more tanky, so I use this. You don't even need this. You can just don't use determination, use the armor flask. As you can see, I have like 50k armor, or almost 50k armor if I seismic cry. Without the granite, you can just use the granite, don't use determination, and don't use the Sublime Vision. That's basically the build. It's really fun, it maps really fast. As you can see, you have like huge movement speed. You don't even need to aim anything, as you can also see in the showcase videos. You have very high amount of regen, which is super nice, because you don't need, like, if you're playing Slayer or if you're playing Berserker, you heavily rely on Leech, for example. But with this, you don't. You always have the regen if you just basically hit yourself. And the harder you hit yourself, the more regen you get. Which is, in my opinion, pretty huge quality of life. And this build is still work in progress. It's like, as I said, I wanted to really swap from this mace to highest mace. And then I don't need to use forbidden jewels. You can use, like, for example, Light of Meaning with fist damage instead, or more rare jewels. Or if you have like more money, you could use even Valako's forbidden jewels, but they're very expensive. But yeah, that's basically the buy. I just wanted to give a quick showcase, because I think this is like pretty well-rounded slammer. which with like high investment. So if you like enjoy slamming and have like a bit of money left to spare, I wanted to try like a really well-rounded slammer in my opinion, which can like basically do all content. Like I'm running T17s, Anarchy, I'm killing all the Ubers pretty comfortably without any problem, and it's just very fun to play. You feel very tanky, you are with good damage, not of course not the best damage, you're not like Molten Strike of Zenith for example, but it maps really well. You don't need to aim, you just hit the ground and the stuff dies. Yeah. Thank you very much. If you have like any comments or something how to improve the build, feel free to ask anything about the build also. Yeah, it's my first time like doing anything, something like this, like showcasing one of my builds basically, because I usually play SSF and it's like first time in years. And I think it's a pretty cool slammer, like not many people are doing slams now, but I think it's pretty good. Yeah. Thank you very much, and as I said, if you have any questions, just feel free to ask. Bye-bye.
Are you hiding in that murderous mind of yours? Let's find out. Valdo had some ingenious designs hidden in his memories. Observe! Rayclass needs me! Designs were flawed. Do you remember dying here? You will. Be no more! Feel the pull of the void! Are you? In this, the realm of the past, I am king, and you will bow. This one is my own creation. Ah, plenty more where that came from. Face your destruction. Burn away sin. Feel the pull of the void. Impossible. How? This isn't over. This will never be over. I will unify humanity